And he's quite a cute little chap, you know, the way he talks, he's charismatic. People say he's going to be the future captain. I'd like you to comment on Rishabh.
I think he's an important cast member in the story because he was not there in the first test. And he had scored a century in one of the practice matches before that. Then from there to be not selected and then being selected in the second test onwards and all that. And to have that incredible journey, he was basically one of those most crucial team members around which they had pivoted the whole thing.
Neeraj Pandey is here with me. Many congratulations.
Thank you.
The heart of India is cricket and you have tapped into it. To me, the story of India versus Australia, the Bodogavaskar Trophy, actually starts a year before. When I remember, I saw a documentary which I don't want to name on another platform, which is an English documentary. Which is very from a.
You're talking about the test.
Yeah. Where Justin Langer says, Pujara wore us down. You know, how Indians with their backs against the wall, you know, come back and do what they do. Did the cricket of it appeal to you more, Neeraj, or the drama of it appeal to you more? Are you a cricket fan, or was this just a great story to tell?
I think, both the drama and the cricket. The cricket was the backdrop, but what you witnessed in the 4-test series was immense drama. I mean, you couldn't script this one, and it won't be a plausible script if you script this. It would be turned down by most producers, so to speak. But this was an impossible story, I felt, which is what we claim in the trailer also. So the drama is no doubt what pulled me into it, and like I mentioned, the origin of it, that we were waiting for the 4th test to pan out the way it did eventually. And if it won't have happened that way, then I doubt if we would have chased the story.
You know, to me, apart from the 2 tests that India won and the 36 all out, the Sydney drawn test was so dramatic.
That was bigger than a victory.
Exactly. I'm so happy you think that way.
Because,
you know, because the fact that these two guys were batting to save the test, they batted for 42.6 hours and Cummins and Hazelwood are beating them on their bodies.
True.
And they had one chest pad. So let's start with that. Let's talk about that drawn test more than the 36 and the victories.
For me, that was the origin. When Sudeep and Sheetal and me, we were watching this at the office, and we were sitting in the canteen, and when the last ball was bowled and the match was drawn, Sudeep was the one who said that I think this is a great story. And for some reason I said that it would be a great story if we win the 4th test. And that's how it panned out. But the genesis of it is the 3rd test. And what you saw that day was not just resilience of an ordinary kind. It was grit. I mean, he was battered that day. Both of them were battered. Both of them couldn't run, but still they just hung on. So,
because when you make a documentary, the visuals tell a story, but the people who speak or do the piece to cam also tell a fantastic story. And some of these boys are, you know, speech comes very naturally to them. Ash has his own YouTube channel. He's flamboyant. He's good with the media. Ajinkya's a little bit of a quiet sort. Pooji's a bit of a quiet sort. But over the years, I've realized doing interviews with them as a journalist that you have to nudge them in the right direction and then Pooji starts talking. With Ajinkya, volume is always a problem. So I told my sound guy, you know, you just keep his volume high up. So to get the quieter ones to open up, not the Rishabh Pants and the Ashes, they'll do that. How did you manage that?
So we did 2 things actually. So for each of these players, we had made a 10-minute clip that would sort of be the highlight for the entire series from their point of view. So if it was Siraj, it was Siraj's all his wickets and, you know, the big high moments and all that. Used to be 10 to 12-minute clips for every cricketer. The moment they used to land up on set, that's the first thing that we would do. We would make them see that while they're getting mic'd up or whatever. The second thing that we did was Vikram Sathe, who was the interviewer. We spent long hours computing the questions and stuff like that on this. We revisited the whole thing. And it was his job to sort of just, you know, break the ice, so to speak, and then get them going on this.
Also, Ashwini Iyer Tiwari and Nitesh, the directors of Dangal and Panga, made a documentary on Leander Pace and Mahesh Bhupati.
I've not seen it as yet.
And I asked them, I said, from film to documentary, they said, my God, what an experience it is. As predominantly a filmmaker, there are people like you, there are people like Kabir Khan, there are people like
I started out in documentaries, by the way.
Yeah, so that's my question to you, which is, like Kabir, you started off in docus. So to come back to your passion point, how was that?
Homecoming. So no jhamela, just it's more of an edit job. So that's the thing that attracted me most. So it's like data mining to start with. You basically sifting through footage, and then carving out a story as you speak, and then you get to know that okay, you've got these people who are in the cast, getting their points of view, and then figuring out a script on that. So it's a different kind of a beast altogether, and maybe that's the reason I love it, because once you've done films, scripted stuff and all that, it's a nice break to go into something which is unscripted and throws a different direction.
There are also small stories in Bandon Mein Tha Dam, the story of Siraj.
Yeah.
He takes a fifer, what an amazing series he has, but his dad, and that must have really spoken to you also, the emotion behind what the players go through. We never think of those things. I mean, we just watch it as fans and we cheer or jeer. Talk about that, please.
It's, you said it, losing someone so close and special to you, and then still not being able to come back home because of the whole quarantine thing across the world, and then still being told by his mom to stay put and then just play for the country. I mean, these are, that's the reason this story needs to be told. It's got lots of human stories such as this. Siraj ke saath hi, the fiver that you're talking about, there's a very interesting take that both him and Shardul were stuck at 4 at that point of time.
Yeah.
And Ajinkya told him that take a break, and he said, no, just give me 1 over. And the irony of it is,
said to Kapil Dev in 1983.
Yeah, and the irony of it all is that he bowls the delivery, and Shardul is the one who has to take that catch for him to get that fiver. So I mean, it's built of these moments. Yeah.
Will we also see Natarajan, Washi, and all these other boys? Or
Washi has been interviewed. Natarajan was not available at that point of time. He was not well or something. He was in.
And Washi again. I mean, fantastic. I was just talking to Ash, and I was saying how Tamilians who live in Bombay, we were so happy with that series because Ajinkya did well, Ash did well, Washi did well, Nattu did well. So again, Washington, both with the bat and the ball coming through, debutant. That's an interesting story out there. Like you talk a little bit.
Yeah. He was taken there as a net bowler. He was taken there in order to give the batsman a sense of how Leon would be bowling. So they rubbed the surface, they scrapped the surface, and he was basically a net bowler, giving him that experience. But then little did he know at that point of time that he'll end up featuring like Natarajan, making his test debut on the final test. So and his father had a premonition. His father's birthday was about 2 days before the final test or something. And he had a premonition. He said that you better be ready. I mean, this is going to happen.
I asked Jinx, I said, when do you decide to keep back Rishabh or promote him at the up the order? So he said, big question. Nobody knows. He's so unpredictable. But when you talk to the team and this and that, and he's quite a cute little chap, the way he talks, he's charismatic. People say he's going to be the future captain. I'd like you to comment on Rishabh.
I think he's an important cast member in the story because he was not there in the first test. And he had scored a century in one of the practice matches before that. Then from there to be not selected, and then being selected in the second test onwards and all that. And to have that incredible journey, he was basically one of those most crucial team members around which they had pivoted the whole thing.
What do you brought them back after 36 all out? Was it the fact that people said without Virat you're nothing? Shami was also gone. Was it the humiliation? Or did they find something extra somewhere in there? Because, these things, nobody expected this.
So, I mean, there is this concept of grateful debutant. I don't know whether you are aware of this or not. When you are placed in that kind of adversity, and then you have this grateful debutant making his debut in those trying circumstances, is always more eager to prove than anyone else, and that was what was happening. So there is this piece in the documentary as well on this. Yeah.
Wow. And a little bit on Pooji, because the kind of body blows that he took in the 50, in the 77, the thumb and things like that, to find some kind of reserve energy when your body is broken. You know, this was a little more than what Ashwin and Vihari went through, because it was actually a broken thumb. So talk to me about Pooji and what spoke to you about what he went through.
Pujara was the only player besides Ajinkya who played all the 4 tests.
Yep.
And I mean, he's someone who was already tired the Australians psychologically, like the series that you mentioned before this one. So they're very, very wary of him. And right from the commentators to the players on field to the coaches, there's a strange mix of deep respect and at the same time, you know, contempt as to how he plays. So it's all rolled in one. And for him to come up on the stage and rally the youngsters around him, and it's a huge, huge story from his point of view.
And somebody like Hanuma, who just, again, he doesn't get enough credit. You know, Hanuma Vihari doesn't.
He was having a bad series.
He was having a bad series, but the fact that he just stuck around, even if it's a 21, which is so crucial, making those partnerships, what do you make of him?
Again, very tenacious, very, very strong-headed, and he figured out very quickly that he will not be able to run at all. And then to have a set of clear instructions between him and Ashwin as to who will negotiate which bowler and how to go about that business, and mentally they were just tiring them out. They were that's the reason I say that the 3rd test is more crucial, because they set up for that victory in the 4th test while they were playing the 3rd test.
Will we see little bits of the parents or the family or the friend circle? Or
No, we've not gone there. We've not gone there. Essentially sticking to the 2 captains, that's the structure. Tim Payne and Ajinkya from both sides are basically structuring it and recounting the whole thing, and we've got bits from other cricketers.
That's nice you told me that, because suddenly I thought at the top of my head, yes, Tim, he's man of the match in one test match. Yeah. You know, one would expect him to do what he said. He did say openly, saying, you know, we're going to go nail them.
Right.
But again, seems to be a nice bloke. You see, on the field, everybody's aggressive.
Absolutely. You can't make your country, you can't make an exception that the Indians.
So it's why I didn't know that, you know, I saw a bit in the trailer of Tim, but I didn't know he was really stringing it together. So your experiences with Tim, did you have to go to Oz and...
No, we did it remotely because Australia was shut down at that point of time when we interviewed both him, Pat Cummins and Peter Lager, who's a journalist over there. So at that point of time the country was shut down, so we had to do it remotely. But he was open and forthcoming about everything, so just kept on speaking about whatever that he wanted to without caring too much. So and he...
Did you put up the Rishabh thing when he said be a babysitter and things like that?
No, that was in the last series, so we didn't go there. But he did speak a lot about Pujara again.
A lot of respect.
A lot of respect, and he kept on using the words huge respect. It's there in the documentary.
And I imagine Pat Cummins, again, being the current captain now,
right,
has that respect. I mean, it's wonderful for us to hear wonderful things about our players from the foreigners.
Yeah, and that was the point of the documentary, that, you know, it's if we would have made it just from the Indian players' perspective, then it would have been just like, okay, हमने अपनी पीठ थपथपा ली, बात खत्म हुआ and all that. But to get a perspective from the other side as to what your opponents, they were very happy when they won the 1st test, deservedly so. And then to turn it around and for them to have that awe, that regard, that respect, and doff their hats in that direction, that okay, this was a 2nd strung team, you know, and still they managed to win this game. Huge.
Tell me about your BGM. The trailer looks nice and grand. I like the whole crescendo of the music. So who's done your BGM for you?
Sanjay Chaudhary again. I mean, Sanjay has been doing stuff with me since I came to Bombay, so I mean, go back a long way. And
Do you have to give him a brief at all now, or is it just
no, nowadays I have to stop him. That okay, enough. But he's a dream to work with, and I think the score is one of the highlights of this.
Lovely. I hope you make a lot more documentaries. And you
hope
have the
so.
time to, most importantly, because as a filmmaker, your time is premium, and there's so much happening. But I think with the onset of OTT, and big ups to Voot Select for commissioning this, and Sheetal and yourself, your partner and yourself doing this. I hope you have more stories in your mind for more documentaries.
Let's hope so.
Great.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Voot Select it is, Bandon mein tha dam, and please watch it. This is a matter of national pride. It's directed by one of the foremost directors of our generation, Neeraj Pandey.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Cheers.
so much. Thank you.